We're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of MovieCast. I am your host, Dana, joined by Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. How are you doing, good sir?
Doing good, Dana. What's up, listeners and viewers?
Wonderful. And if you haven't guessed, we are here to talk about Un Monkey, the monkey, the funniest, kind of just bloodiest movie so far of 2025 that took me completely by surprise. I don't know how you responded to it. We will get to that, Mr. Richard. But yeah, we're here to talk about the monkey and whether or not this is another hit for Mr. Osgood Perkins, who I discovered just a couple days ago is the actual son of Anthony Perkins.
Hmm.
So, yes, right away, going off with your thoughts, Richard. Immediately, what did you think of this movie when you left the theater?
Yes, I would say this is probably the best horror comedy of 2025. So far, I would say. I don't think anything is going to. I don't really know yet what else is coming out this year because I can't say for sure that it definitively is going to have some competition. But right now, without a doubt, it was a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, a lot of goriness. Um, and I do think it is a very successful hit for Osgood Perkins. I went to go
Right.
see his movie Long Legs last year, so that I enjoyed that movie. But yeah, I think he did a fantastic job with this movie, without a doubt.
I will say there could be a possibility of him kind of knocking his own self out again because The Keeper, which is his upcoming movie, releases this year, October 3rd.
Mm.
So she got a two for one in 2025. So we don't know, but so far, well, for me, I had no intentions of seeing this movie just because it was like, I don't know, I don't really feel like it. I did not see Long Legs, despite owning it. I have not seen Long Legs, and again,
Ah.
I didn't know who Oscar Perkins was. So I saw this movie because I had to go do the interviews. So I'm like, fine, I'll watch it. This was hilarious. And immediately I'm like, this is Final Destination, but with a monkey. Replace Tony Todd with just the monkey playing the drums. And
Yeah.
there you have it. Final Destination. You cannot escape death, and it will be disgusting and brutal and sad and horrible. But yes, so for me, this was a hoot that I did not expect at all. So kind of starting off with this, let's kind of like talk about what it is. This is a movie that takes place. It starts off with I would say like the fifth. Well, it starts off with a man entering a shop, kind of like a pawn shop, who wants to just get rid of this monkey that plays the drums. It is based on a Stephen King novella, a little short story about a monkey. He plays the drums, but they had not the drums. He played the cymbals, but they had to change it to the drums because Disney copyrighted a cymbal playing a monkey for their
Oh,
stuff
wow.
for Toy
Okay.
Story 3 or one of the Toy Story movies. So he had to change it to drums. And for me, I was like, this is a blessing in disguise because tension wise, that drumming
Hmm.
it just worked as opposed to just the symbol, but you're waiting for that arm. Is it going to go down? Is it going to go up? Because it tells you kind of what or who's going to die once it bloop, hits that little drum again. So for
Hmm.
me, I thought it was fabulous. But anyway, we start off with the man trying to return the the monkey in a pawn shop. It starts playing, and the killation is just brutal right off the bat. And then we kind of get into the origin story of the monkey, where it's two twins. Their father died. They're left by their mother, and you can kind of see the death kind of really affected one. You always have that one twin that kind of gets it a little bit, hits it harder a little bit than the other one. And you kind of see like there's that love hate relationship that brothers or siblings in general have, but it really becomes more of a hate relationship kind of as the story progresses. And this is a spoiler. We're doing spoilers now because we will fully talk about this movie. There is a situation where it feels like one brother is getting bullied, not just by his brother, but also by the school. It's kind of one of those weaker, stronger brother situations. He's very upset and evil to him. And, long story short, he kind of figures out that the monkey can kind of grant wishes, he thinks. And he thinks that it has the ability to kill people, but he can tell it who to kill. And that is not how the monkey works at all. And one of the brothers, you can make the argument, accidentally kills the mom, which just sets off the two twins into kind of a different way of life, where it's like, oh, you killed mom, and now I want you dead. And one of the brothers becomes completely obsessed with killing the other brother through the monkey. But there's rules to the games that, these boys didn't know of. And it makes for hilarious hijinks and just awfulness of kind of sibling. I don't even want to say rivalry. One just trying to escape, one just wanting to live, and the other one is like, nah, I'm gonna just kill everyone until it gets to you. So what did you think of kind of like the sibling dynamic? First of all, when they were kids, and then how it translated to them being adults.
Well, I thought that was fantastic. Now, I will say this. Yeah, the actor's name is Theo James. Uh, the last thing that has been in that I have seen has been that show, The White Lotus. And by the way, I highly recommend people watch that show. It's a very entertaining show. The new season actually starts tonight. So yeah, watch that show. But pretty much what I will say is when I saw the initial trailer of this, I didn't even know that it was about twin brothers, because when they had the teaser out there, you just saw the monkey, and then all I saw was that Osgood Perkins was involved, Stephen King. I said, okay, yeah, I already was going to see it because I did see Longlegs. So I was already interested. Then when I started to learn more about the story by virtue of seeing it, because the trailers, the one thing I like about the trailers, like, they didn't show the twin brother in the trailer. They showed only one of the brothers. Okay. Even when they had a longer trailer, they didn't show the other brother. So that was when I was like, okay. So when I saw it in the theater a few days ago, yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was very interesting take, and it made sense that this all started because of this toy. Although I can't. Oh wait, I can't call it a toy. Remember in the movie they said it's not a toy. It's not a toy. It's an instrument of evil. I guess you could say something to that effect. But I like how they set everything up, and how, yeah, the brothers, I think the brothers' name were Hal and Bill. Hal is the one that was getting bullied by his brother. And then obviously, it got to a point where he was so angry, he went back to the house. He talked to the monkey and he said, oh, I want my brother to get killed. And then that's how the mom, unfortunately, she eventually went out. And then, yeah, like you said, the other brother becomes obsessed, and now he wants to go after his brother. And I just thought the way they handled it was very well done in terms of the storytelling. You see that, and one thing I will say that I noticed is that what I think that Theo did a very good job in this movie was as playing two characters. Because let's be honest, okay, the other brother he was a jerk. Okay, I'm not gonna go too extreme with what I was gonna say. He's a jerk, right? So, and the funny thing is that the way he played that character is exactly the same way he played his character in The White Lotus. So to now see him as an opposite character, where he's also playing a brother that's a lot more reserved, he panics a lot with certain stuff, he's very paranoid, and also just trying to hold back a little bit. That was a great dynamic for him. So I was glad to see that. But I think he did an excellent job playing both brothers. And that's why I said the storytelling itself made a lot of sense for the one to want to get revenge. So I think they did a fantastic job as far as how they put it together.
And then for me, I gotta give the kids some glory that played the younger versions too,
Oh yeah,
because they were good too. They captured kind of like that evilness of being, that twins. I think they cast one actor to play two roles, I believe.
yeah.
Um,
I think his
yes.
name
So
is
Christian
yeah, you got it.
Convery.
Yep.
So Christian Convery, I gotta give it to you because Christian Convery was amazing. in those roles where, and you really felt that one was definitely getting picked on, and you understood why he was like, I wish he was dead. I can't stand him. So you understood that aspect. And, when the mother ended up being, here's the thing about the mother. The way how it looked was that she had an accident where her throat was slit. Right? But they kept saying that it was like a brain hemorrhage that happened. And therefore, it seemed to be a question of whether or not he actually did kill her. Because if you looked again, when they replayed that death, she wasn't bleeding from the neck. So to me, it felt like the argument could be made that the doll, no, sorry, I'm doing what you did, that the being, the entity, the instrument of evil, you could argue in that moment, didn't kill the mother. She just happened to die. Just coincidence. And one of the brothers used that being as like where he centered all of that hatred from. And his brother for that hatred. When in actuality, the mom just died of this freak brain hemorrhage that happened, like an aneurysm.
Yes.
So do you feel that the monkey was, you could argue, kind of real and actually killed her? Because to me, he was like, yeah, I would expect it like, oh, something happened with oil popped and then she got scared and slit her throat with the knife, but it wasn't because they replayed it again. There was no blood.
Yes, I think you can definitely make that point because I recall that she also had a conversation with both the sons talking about death when they had the funeral for the babysitter and basically saying that, stuff just happens sometimes. Things happen to people. Everybody's going to die. I'm going to die. Y'all are going to die too. So you can make the argument that, yes, it's just something that just happened. I think now, again, I would like to see when the movie comes out what everybody says. I think that they wanted to leave it as it could be either or, because at the same time, you saw how the monkey was taking people out left and right, anytime, the babysitter, other people. So I understand why one of the brothers might think, okay, the monkey was behind this, so my brother did something. I understand that, but also the point you made makes a lot of sense, that it could have just been her time to go and she went out that way. So but I think they want to leave it open-ended. I don't know if they want to definitively say the monkey was behind it. They want you to think it could have been one or the other. That's what my guess is. But I like your theory a lot. So it would make sense if she just happened to die and then the brothers thought, oh, the monkey is involved, and then that's how the grudge deepened the way it did.
This movie made me very terrified for hibachi grills. Like it was like the Final Destination. Like Final Destination is like we don't drive behind big trucks, especially if you see the wood. It's carrying wood. For me, it's like this movie's big standing point was we definitely don't go to a hibachi grill.
Yes,
because it's too many uncontrollable elements.
Now, let me ask you a question. Now, since you said that, now, do you think which death do you think was the most gruesome in this movie? So, is that on the list as the one that you thought that was the most darkest, or is there another one that you would say is a better candidate for that?
Oh, you see, the hibachi felt like to me that stood out the most. I'm trying to mentally go through all of there are so many ways people died. There's even like a airplane fell out the sky and then like bodies are just raining on the town. Who thinks of that?
And I also would give an honorable mention to the aunt. That what happened to the aunt? Yeah, the face hooks, and then the head getting set on fire, and then walking into the sign, the for sale sign. There's a lot going on with that scene.
They killed her like 3 different ways almost. I was just ready for like a truck to come through and just run her over. Oh my gosh. It was a then don't forget there was one where I think the realtor's head was blown off by the gun because of
when he went to the house, he went back to the house because he was looking for the monkey, and that's when he went in there, and then that realtor, they opened that door, and then goodbye to her, game over.
I
So
I will say this. I didn't see her death because I knew something was coming, and I was just like this the whole time. And then I looked up and she had no head. So I don't know exactly how the gun went off. Was it a shotgun to the face?
yes, it was. And actually, in the trailer, that was what they showed in the trailer. They didn't show the actual death. They just showed the reaction the brother had, and then he opens his mouth, and one of her fingers was in his mouth. He had to take it out. So
Oh
they showed that
yeah.
in the trailer. Yeah, they showed that in the trailer, and there's a whole bunch of blood and stuff. So I was like, oh, okay. So I knew that was coming when I saw that scene. I said, okay, so this is where that
Yeah,
happens.
that was kind of gross, but hold on, but yeah, I don't. To me, it just had to be that hibachi grill because that was just like something that people go to. Yes, you can expect opening a door and getting your face blown off. Okay, a plane falling and people crashing and people just falling out the plane. Okay, but that
Yeah.
hibachi grill was just like it just always seemed like something was wrong. The oil is popping,
Mm-hmm.
the food is flying. You got the guy with the knives. That never sit right with me, period. Even before this movie, that just never sat right with my soul. And it was like, it did to me, it was like, this is a Final Destination moment, just period in
Oh
general.
yeah.
So for me, that was like a classic death. But then to get her head completely decapitated and then onto the grill and then they cut to the funeral. And the funeral was funny. The priest was like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
people are dead. Who
Yeah,
writes
that
like
was
that? It was
hilarious.
amazing. But yeah, so kind of continuing with the story, we end up being introduced to the aunt and uncle, which is its own other weird character in
Oh
itself.
yeah.
But you see, like the brother, you see, there is a moment where you see the brother is like he opens up, he won't take off his funeral suit
Mm-hmm.
because he feels that there's gonna be another one. And I think by this time, like two more people have died,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
including like so it was like two more people, including the mother. So he's like, it's just death all around. So I don't want to take this suit off because I'm always prepared for the next funeral, and it was just so heartbreaking to kind of see. So he kind of
Mm-hmm.
internalized completely different, the deaths and his mother dying, and then he just outright and verbally said it. It was you killed her, and you could see how he had this kind of festered into his hatred. And so they lose contact with each other for like 25 years. And then we meet the Theo James version of the twins, where shockingly, you see, one lives his life in complete fear. He doesn't get attached to anybody. But we do learn he has a son, which I'm like,
Yes.
that's just random. So, like, was you not afraid that when you had even when you got close, was it a one night? Well, you was his wife. So it was like, was you not afraid when you got married? And then when she got pregnant, I guess it just dissipated, but then it manifested now, years later, because he had no
Yeah.
relationship with his son. So it's like,
Exactly. Well, that's a
I'm
great question. That's a great question because I wondered the same thing. Obviously we knew they were gonna both of this brothers were gonna have some long term effects, all the trauma that they faced as kids. But they had made the comment that they had got rid of the monkey. They put him down the well, so they figured,
yeah,
all right, well, they don't have to worry about that for quite some time. And for a long time, they didn't have to worry about it. So maybe he tried to move on to start a life, but he always still was hesitant because when he had the son, now he was afraid something was going to happen to the son. So I mean, there's a lot going on there. They didn't really expand into all of that as to how that happened in the movie with him deciding to, get with the woman and have a kid. They didn't go into that, but I'm pretty sure of that because the character to me feels like he was the same in terms of how he was acting, his behavior, and how he wanted to be alone and stuff. So I definitely would find it hard to believe that okay, yeah, now he has a kid. So that was interesting, but it makes sense why
yeah,
he would be concerned about the kid's safety. That made sense 100%. Yeah.
yeah. And it was also kind of funny. It was like, I care about this kid. I don't want to be around the kid, but like, screw the wife in a way. It was like, how long were they together? Was he okay with her just dying? Because he
That's a
really
good.
wanted to be alone. He just wouldn't be with anyone, period. So I'm like, I have
Well,
so many questions.
these are good questions to ask, and obviously, and I will say this: I like Elijah Wood. Okay, his character.
I love Elijah.
That I wish we could have saw more with that character. Glad that he didn't die in the movie, but yeah, but you saw that character clearly. He was the stepfather. You know, he was the one that said, and I have to say that I do agree with the assessment that he would probably take better care of the kid than his other father, because just in the little time you saw him, you saw how he always, you know, he was a guru, or so, you know, he wrote a book, right? He was a guru, basically trying to
Self-help
help people.
guru.
Yeah, there it is. So he definitely could be a good source of someone to talk to for the kid, give advice. But yeah, I liked what role he played in this, even though it was a very limited role. I would have liked to have seen him do more in the movie, but it makes sense to introduce that character though, and to introduce a situation, yeah, because you see how crazy you know, Hal's life actually is. It's a very crazy life, and once the monkey was on the loose once again, things got a lot more hectic. So yeah, the kid probably shouldn't be around that.
I wanted him to die. I wanted Ted to die.
Uh-oh.
Not like just because it would have just been funny. And you add to the levity of like just Ted dying. I don't know, maybe somehow murdered in some kind of freak way by his book.
Yes.
Like the
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like a a whole bookcase of his books fell down on top of him. Or death by 1,000 paper cuts. I don't know. But I feel like the book should have been some way of killing him because he made it like such a prominent thing of showing the book and he was a self-help guru.
I agree.
So yeah,
I
but
agree.
I completely agree with the assessment that he wanted to adopt a son because the guy was never there and you could see that, he cared about the son, but he
Mm-hmm.
just never really had the son was just, you could see that he wanted to know more about his father.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought that his father kind of didn't love him, and instead it was like he was afraid of him dying, honestly. And the movie overall, the biggest theme is just about death and how we perceive it. One twin welcomed it to the point where
Yeah.
he welcomed it for a lot of people, and the other one was so afraid of it. And they took their mother's message kind of the complete different way, where I don't think they took it both the right way.
Mm-hmm.
But one, the message of like people die freakishly, normally, boring, hilariously, they just die. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Mm-hmm.
And, as you stated before, when that was kind of her thing, she just freakishly died that way. So, yeah. And the way how it just kind of manifested with the son and how he really wanted to know his father. So what did you think about the son? And remember he had that project of, what's my family tree? And in a way, it kind of discovered the family tree by having to go back to the father's childhood home to find the monkey. And then also,
I
the aunt dying and the uncle. The uncle died too with the lawn
yes.
accident.
Yes.
While the neighbor was watching, he's covered in blood. It was the horses. Was it the horses that took him out? Someone got took out by horses.
There's a lot of different deaths in there. It's I'm hard to remember every single one.
There was
Um
one he was sleeping. He went camping. He was sleeping in the bed.
yes,
It was like
that's
a
yeah.
100 horses came, stampeded over him.
Yeah, that's what
I
happened to the
forgot
uncle. That's what happened to the uncle. Yeah.
that was the
Mm-hmm.
uncle.
Yeah.
So who was the
Because
lawnmower?
they showed the body bag. They opened the body bag. It's just a whole bunch of yeah. That was very disgusting.
Yeah, it was gross.
No.
Random.
I was gonna say you asked the question about the son.
Yes, the
Um
question was about the son. What did you think about the son and kind of him
okay, so
learning about his family through
I
death and horror?
I I have to say I was a bit surprised that Hal didn't want to tell him about his uncle. Now I understand that you don't have a
Um,
relationship with him and you I understand you was estranged, you hadn't spoken to him in a while, but when the son is outright asking, you just lie to him and tell him, no, I'm the only kid. And I thought that was a very surprising, because I knew at some point he's gonna find out. So that's not a good way to build a good trusting relationship with your kid. But I did like the son character. You could see that the son wanted to try to have a relationship with his father. The father obviously was hesitant because of all the other stuff that was going on. And then the fact that now he hadn't spent time with him, but he was afraid, he was still hesitant. And then obviously once he knew that the monkey was back, then he really wanted to get him away from that, as far away from it as possible. But again, he got roped up in this too, because it was Bill who said, well, I want him to be the one to use the monkey. So yeah, he got him wrapped up in this, the same way. So that's why I said, I did like the character though. I understand the character's point of view. I mean, the son wasn't rebellious in any way. He just wanted to have a better connection with his father. So I don't really understand why, the father made it so difficult, but we know why, because of the awkwardness of the life that he has now and the fact that he did not want him to be around any chaotic stuff that was happening with him.
I don't blame him for saying that I'm the only child. That
Oh, really?
brother was kind of evil. I would have did the same thing too. I mean, they were so polar opposite, and you kind of know. He said that, I want you to die, I want to kill you. He made his intentions very clear to him, which is why they were so estranged. It wasn't like, hey, I love you, brother, we're gonna stick through this thick and thin, we're here for each other. It was like, screw you, you're gonna get paid back. Don't worry, I'm gonna come for you one day. May not be today, but it's gonna be one day. And he kind of had that kind of, it was not just death, it was also his brother that weighed on him. And so if you really want to try to live that life, those 25 years of kind of freeness and freedom, I don't have a brother. I am an only child. And I will mentally rewrite that history as a form of like escapism so that I can just be free. And they were so estranged that it felt like, hey, I don't have a brother at all. 25 years now, what brother? So, in a way, it felt like I understood him saying, no, there's no brother. But yeah, you could argue that it was unfortunate that he lied to his son and the way how his son had to find out, which I loved how the real estate agent was like, and your brother, you know your brother, that brother of yours, brother. She just kept ramming it in there. And Dwight was like, what? But yeah, no, I completely understand that. And I feel like the son, yeah, as you said, he wasn't like some kind of stereotypical kid where he was acting out or anything. He just really wanted to know his father. And, he knew that Ted was going to come in and adopt him, but he wanted to know his father. He wanted to know about his family. And he wanted to do it, it wasn't like and it was weird, not weird, but it didn't really seem like he had any connection to Ted. I don't know. I mean, we had such a short introduction to Ted, which is why I wish, Elijah could play the role just a little bit longer, and then they would have killed him, but he never dies or whatever. Because I just think he would have just sold that so well, like this death face of like something, I don't know. Yeah. But I really wanted to see Ted. But I really felt that, he didn't really have that connection to Ted. When his father came around, he was like, okay, I got a school project. He tried to talk to him, tried to have that conversation with him. And then you see them kind of together because they were supposed to go to an amusement park for like his last day as a father, essentially, and go to this amusement park. But instead, he gets the phone call that his aunt, died, and he has to come claim, the things in the house and everything else. So it's like, can I come with you? He's like, no, but can I come with you? And kind of talks himself into it. And you could see like he was really hesitant, not because, I don't want you to know anything about my life, but it was because of that, I don't want you to die. And you really did feel that. He was trying to protect him throughout the entire movie. So it was love there. It was just more of a fear of getting to know his son, a fear of death, a fear of kind of anyone getting close to him, which again makes me wonder, how was he married? Because if it was like a one-night stand, fine, that's great. What, did you not have these feelings when you met this woman and you kind of got married to? They were married, right? I felt like that
Yes,
was like
yes,
the
they
end point.
were. Hmm.
So it was like, I'm confused. Do we just not care about women in this? I'm confused. I have so many questions.
I don't
But
know.
yeah,
I don't
so
have an answer for
I
that.
don't know. So we get to the hotel, and then of course that lovely lady. It's a freakish way where the electricity, I forgot how it goes in order, but the air conditioner is leaking. That's above, and the electricity is flowing, and somehow it flows into a swimming pool right when a woman is about to jump in, and her body just implodes or explodes, because implode would be in, so explodes out, and you just see different body parts and things, and it was gross. So that, and also we get the phone call from the brother, so he's been kind of watching him because it was random the whole time. What were your thoughts on 25 years and this is how they connect?
Well, yeah, it made sense. You know, they set this up perfectly because again, you saw when they were kids that Hal, because he got bullied by his brother and those other girls at the school, that's where he was like, okay. He said, he's talking to the monkey. I want you to kill Bill. You know, I want you to kill Bill. And of course, that's not what happened. You know, it didn't happen. Well, it didn't happen that way. Okay, but he had that wish for that to happen. Then the mom passes. That death makes the brothers think about they have an idea. They know the monkey is a very dangerous entity. And then this whole time, you know, before they get separated, because obviously they decide to get rid of the monkey after the uncle, because it was the uncle that passed. That was when they decided then, okay, we need to get rid of this monkey. So they put it down in the well. So all this time is passing, and obviously there's a lot of festering that Bill is doing because Bill knows that his brother had intentions of trying to get to take him out. So he blames him for the mom's death. And then, of course, you mentioned the scene about when we fast forward to 25 years later. That actually, yeah, that hotel scene where Hal is there and the woman gets electrocuted. Yeah, I think you know, what happened after that was when they went to the house, and then that was when the real estate agents got taken out, and then that's when he had the conversation, and that's when he put two and two together and said, okay, yeah, so my brother is the one that is behind this, because they'd show us a scene also. They have an auction at the house, and there's a young man that goes and gets that doll because this is somebody that Bill has decided to hire to bring him the doll. So I think the way they put it together was very well done. And you understand from Bill's perspective why he is so obsessed with blaming his brother for what happened to his mom, wanting to get revenge. And then he decides to have the monkey continuously taking people out left and right but not never getting his wish though. So I think they built it up very well. No doubt about that. Yeah, I think it was very, very well put together.
I completely forgot about that because I saw it longer. You saw it recently. I saw it like a while ago,
Oh
so I'm
yeah, yeah,
forgetting like little intricate parts. But I do remember one thing that for me found to be interesting. The entity arrives. I don't know the history. They don't show the history of like the monkey of like, and this was created in 1922. They don't do that. But
yeah,
it just seems to
yeah.
be really interesting that it emotionally connects to men because remember the guy who purchased the monkey for Bill? I think it's Bill. Maybe it's Hal. It's Bill, right? Bill is a bad one.
Yeah, Bill is a
So
bad one. Yeah.
he he purchased the monkey for Bill. It was like it reminds me of my father, and he
Yes.
became possessed, and he was begging for it back. Please, can I have it back? It's my daddy. So it reminded him of his father. And remember, the monkey came into both the twins' lives through the father, who like
Mm-hmm.
went out for cigarettes and never came back. And they were cleaning
And
out the attic, and that's how they found it in his stuff.
yes,
And even going back
and
to the beginning, oh sorry.
oh no. And I was gonna say, yeah, because they mentioned in the very beginning, they showed the father. We didn't see what happened to the father though. After he supposedly destroyed and set the monkey on fire, we never saw what happened to the father after that. So I could only assume, obviously, the monkey likes to come back and haunt people. It can't be destroyed, so it probably came back again, and I don't know what happened. I would have liked to understand what happened to the father, but I like how they did make the connection of, because the other kid has had a father as well, and that father, they had a scene of the father messing around with the same monkey. So there's some type of connection they wanted to establish with the characters that way, for sure.
But you put it like that. The father walked away and left, never came back because he went to go get cigarettes and never came back because of the monkey. He don't want to deal with
Yeah.
the monkey anymore. It wasn't like necessarily, oh, I found another family or anything. He didn't want to deal with the monkey anymore. And then you can
That's it.
argue,
Yep.
so you see that all of the men left their lives because they just walked out and left. The father, I believe it was, did the guy who ended up buying the monkey for Bill, did they say his father died or did they say he left?
They say he left. The
See,
same
he
thing.
left too.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you see, and then if you look at Bill walked away from his family.
Yep.
So it's a
You mean you
connection
mean
of every time.
you mean
Not
Hal.
Bill.
Hal,
Hal,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, because he
He
wasn't in
walked away
his
from his
son's
family as
life.
well.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. He wasn't in his son's life. He walked away.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting how they had the dynamic of like all the fathers walking out of the kids' lives. I guess because of just being this entity, this monkey, you
Yep.
you could make the argument. But it also, you can make the argument of this. It's also the self-centeredness of the men because they don't communicate and
Yep.
say, hey, wife and child, we should go because this monkey is killing people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting that they all just decide, like, I'm going to leave on my own and worry about myself. Peace out. Good luck. I'm not going to tell you why, but good luck. So that's fascinating that that would happen that way. What a terrible. Now everybody is just terrible. Oh my gosh.
Oh
But
yeah. Oh
yeah.
yeah.
So then we get into the whole house of horrors, and this is how the real estate agent literally loses her head. Someone was bound to die. But then you have the whole time where, Hal wants to protect his son, and he's kind of learning more about his family as they visit the house. And again, learning about the uncle, and then, is kind of thrust into this situationship where they discover that, Bill unleashed the monkey, has the monkey, and is unleashing it upon the town where his goal is to basically, he's trying to kill Bill, which I think is hilarious because, Kill Bill movie. So he's trying to kill Bill, but he ends up kind of killing almost everyone in the town, essentially, just randomly dies of these horrific ways until he gets him. What did you think of that very flawed plan?
Well, it goes to show how obsessed he was. And yeah, one thing, because again, we have the names. Hal is the one that Bill is
Oh,
trying
sorry.
to kill. But yeah, it is funny because of what happens later. But no, his whole plan was, it shows you how obsessed he was to try to take his brother out, because he decided, I want to get the attention of, get the attention of the town. There are all these people falling off, and then he knew eventually his brother might return, and then that was his opportunity to take him out. But he was going to use his own son to take him out, which is again very interesting plan. But just a complete massacre in terms of trying to take all these people out.
The whole town just keeps, yeah. So the guy who is begging, and then this just gets really weird because the guy who's begging for the monkey realizes that he has a brother and is gonna remember, he tries to he kidnaps him and the son at the hotel, which is like, this seems a lot of information that you seem to know. This seems a little bit out of left field. This is the fantastical part. Even though there's a being that's kind of killing, but it really doesn't kill other people, but it does kill other people. He's not actually going out and murdering things. It's just how it is. But it seems that to me, that is the most fantastical part of the whole movie. I'm like, that's just really, really convenient. It's a little too convenient. Where the guy dresses up as like a police officer and decides to kidnap Hal, I had the right one. Yep, that's the right one. Hal and the son, and then in order to get the monkey back. And this is how we end up with the bees. Were they bees or were they wasps? I don't
Wasp.
know. They were, and that
Yeah,
death was
Wasp.
just
Oh no, what are you gonna say about
disappointing.
the death?
It's
You said it
disappointing.
was excellent.
It was
This,
disappointing.
well, I
It
will
was
say this.
so ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. I will say this. This again, though, when you mention the Final Destination comparison, because the thing is, he kept messing around with that gun. He obviously didn't know how to use the gun, and it started off. He shot the window, and then all of a sudden, oh wait a second, that window is right there. So that was the easy access for the wasps to fly right in there and go right after the guy. Now I will say this though, that should have also been the death of Hal in that car, because they're not just going to come directly for one individual. There's another person in the car. So yeah, I thought that was a little ridiculous, but I understand why they did that, because they wanted to have the confrontation between the two brothers. But yeah, that
No,
was a
when it's
little
your time to go,
unrealistic.
it's your time. So that's
Yes.
why the bees directly went towards him, and not the bees, the wasp went towards him
Yeah.
and not the brother. But then
Yes.
this to me was so weird. All of the wasps entered his mouth, and
Yes.
then what?
Yes.
Ate him from the inside out?
Well, I don't know. We saw a lot of blood, a lot of. I think it was just a gruesome way to show people getting taken out. Most of this movie, they just want to show people getting taken out in bad ways. So it definitely competition for Final Destination. Although I would say these deaths are a little bit more on the comedy side. Some of the stuff that happens. Well, Final
Yeah,
Destination, when somebody gets killed, it is very heavy, very the tone is different. So
it's a wee bit more realistic. Although that
yeah.
hibachi, that's why I'm saying that hibachi grill. That hibachi grill was just grade A Final Destination right there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
staying with me. That hibachi. but, but but yeah, so he ends up. The longest story short is they end up kind of finally confronting the brother, and the brother is just like consumed by evil. I love the way how Theo James played both of the brothers completely different.
Yeah,
I do
yeah,
love that. I love that whole aspect of how he just, everything was completely different about them. The whole mood, the whole setting, the whole weird like pile of TVs that they made for the cave, the room.
yeah.
Like he
The
completely
the
lost us.
obstacle the obstacle course of traps that he set throughout the entire hotel. Yeah, that was very
Whole
smart. Very very paranoid.
booby trap situation,
Yeah,
which cool, but a little bit weird. But it worked because it showed you just how like he's been obsessed, and it shows you like even the booby traps, like he's obsessed with death, and like this is something that he took his time out to plan. So yeah, yeah. So how did you feel about that confrontation? They finally ended up confronting him, and he thought he was gonna get the upper hand. The whole goal was like, I'm gonna just keep playing the monkey until you die, and that kind of
I
backfired.
I what happened at the end? I think that I saw that coming when he had the confrontation with the monkey, when he had that little showdown with the monkey, trying to make the monkey do all these things, and then of course the monkey, they had that little sequence where the monkey kept beating the drums and then held it, and I was waiting for it to happen, because again the brothers, they have their whole reconciliation where he's basically talking to him, saying, this is my son, this is your uncle, so on and so forth. And then right as soon as they all say, oh, hey, why don't you come with us? We were on a road trip. Why don't you just come with us? Then the monkey's hand goes down. That's it. And then his head gets blown off. So I thought that was a satisfying conclusion. We know that Hal initially earlier in this movie said that he wanted to kill his brother. So I'm sure he didn't want that to happen the way it did, but it made sense for it to happen that way, because it showed us how consumed Bill was with getting revenge. And then when he tried to cross the monkey had the last laugh. and that was it. Game over.
Yeah, Bill's good. Bill has kind of got his wish. I never thought of it that way. It was a delayed gratification of a wish 25 years later, but his wish finally was granted. You can argue. It was just so ridiculous. And just how it happened, too. It was like, I'm having a conversation with you, and I'm like, oh, your head's gone. It was just so sudden. But you knew it was going to
Yeah.
happen?
Oh
I
yeah.
was like,
Because it fits the tone perfectly of this being like a comedic horror movie where you think there's going to be a happy ending, with there's a reconciliation between the brothers, and then all of a sudden, no. And honestly, I will say this: because of all the people that Bill was responsible for killing to get to his brother, I think he needed to go out this way, because he had to have some type of, you can't get away with killing all those people and there's no consequences. So I was okay with that, but I did laugh when I saw that. I'd laugh when I saw that because it's like, yeah, okay, because it kept the tone the entire. That's the one thing about this film. The tone remains the same, even though they have the moments of seriousness, the sadness, and the grief. It really is comedy is the main thing in this movie throughout, from the start to finish, because in the way that certain characters interact with each other, they have conversations, and then you're talking about the pastor earlier. All this stuff is comedy, but the way they handled it is very well done, you know. And again, the monkey, the actual entity, is no laughing matter. If I ever see a entity like that anywhere, I will stay far away from it and not ever come near it at any point.
yeah, no, I completely agree. And I just love the tone and how it was able to play with the hilarious and the silliness. And I kind of wonder if he had not died, would there really have been a reconciliation? Because I don't think so. I think he is just someone that's so gun ho and set on his hatred that it wouldn't have worked. Even if he had to just do it himself and like strangle him in the middle of the night, that's how he would do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree. I agree
Yeah, which
100%.
to me that would have been more like plausible as opposed to like, let me just keep killing other people until I get to my brother. You know what was that? He
Yeah,
knew what was
yeah.
going on. He lured him back into that town because he was like, you have to go and get everything. You have to do it. It wasn't him.
Yeah.
He
Yep.
purposely put him in that town just so he could like kill him. So
Hmm.
yeah, but overall it was hilarious. And then you kind of have that end scene we had him and the son in the car together, and you just see all the different dead bodies. And it was just random. Like there's a surfboard that went through someone's body as they're on the tree. And then you have the plane crash wreckage. And then there's the school bus. Remember the cheerleaders
Yeah.
randomly showing and just cheering. And then they're all murdered. And it's like, yay! This is the craziest movie. It was such a well deserved crazy movie. But yeah, I got it. That ending of the town just being slaughtered. That was great. How did you feel about? Did you feel that it ended on a good note, or was it just like, it's flat? Was it like, oh, you never seen Captain America yet, so I can't even say it.
I didn't see that. Shout out to Gary Swaby. I heard that he was not a fan of Captain America. So
He
yeah.
cried.
Well, yeah, yeah. But no, I thought the ending, it leaves you wondering what could happen next. Obviously, you said this is based on a short story, so my assumption is that
Stephen
that's it.
King.
There's not going to be another. There's no need to have another movie.
Are you
We know that.
serious?
We'll say what?
Are you serious about there's no need for another movie?
Oh no. I would love to see another movie. I just don't know if they will say, okay, yeah, we're going to do this again. And that's the other thing too. I forgot to mention this. James Wan was also a part of this. This is the
Yes.
guy that worked on Saw, and that's one of my favorite horror franchises. So that's why I said, okay, this movie can't be bad. When I saw he was involved, Osgood, and this is Stephen King, they said, okay, yeah, there's no way this is going to be a bad movie. So, but no, I would love to see if they did go back to this universe again. where the storyline goes. We know that by the end of this movie, the monkey is still very much there. And at the end, the father and son decide to go dancing, because that was the same way that when the mother and the son went dancing earlier in the film, when they celebrated when somebody passed, to try to think of the happier times, to take their mind off of all the bad things. But I would like to see what happens, because clearly at the end of this movie, the monkey is still there. And obviously you would think, well, all we just have to do is just don't wind up the monkey, and then that's it. We don't have to worry about nothing. But the monkey feels like the monkey will always be there. We saw it throughout this movie. Anytime they will go away and you think the monkey is not there, the monkey shows up again, because that's just what happens. The monkey shows up. It's latched on to the brothers. So I will be curious to see if they did decide to do another one. But if they don't, I'm okay with how it ended. Yeah, it just leaves a lot of questions as to what could potentially happen next.
No, I need like 4 of these. If we can have like 17 Star Wars sequels and 10, where we at? 11, 12 Fast and Furious movies?
Oh
There's no way.
yeah.
We can at least crank out 4 more of the monkeys.
Yeah, and I will say this. You make a very good point, because as I recall in this movie, the son did turn the knob on the monkey. So I would think that even though the father and son are going to be separated now, they're going to be split because of the divorce and the adoption, that monkey could come back, and now the kid has to be the one his responsibility to watch over the monkey. So yeah, they definitely could do another one. They definitely can do some other movies. I guess it all depends how it does at the box office. Yeah.
No, I think it's going to do very good. And it's only a $15 million budget, which is like, you can make that by sneezing, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely.
So for me, it kind of reminded me of Jumanji. Because remember how you always try to get rid of the board, and then you get some random other kid who finds the board?
Yes. Absolutely.
And it's not a toy, but it looks like a toy, and the kid likes the little wind up thing with the toy. So just there you go. Have some other kid be like, oh my God, look, it's a monkey, and it goes like this. And then, it kills his entire family.
Yes.
So I want more of these. I don't understand. There needs to be more, and also on top of that, they did a really great job of kind of adapting the novella or the short story, because there really isn't any like personality or anything. Well, to the monkey, it's just all these different random deaths that occur. So I thought they did a really great job. At first, I was hesitant, because we all know a Stephen King adaptation goes left very quickly. There's only a handful that you can count that are actually watchable. That Salem's Lot that they did on HBO was, and that was just a recent one. But they did this so well. So yeah, just give me more monkeys. There's no reason why there shouldn't kind of be any more themes. And then also on top of that, remember this took place in the 50s, or was it the 60s? It took place like either the 50s or the 60s. But the point that I'm trying to make is, have a monkey movie for different decades. One in the 90s. Maybe go back to the 50s. 80s. That's a big thing. 2000s. That kind of situation. And explore those different time periods with this wind-up monkey.
I would like to see that, to get more of a history on where that came from. I heard that they were considering doing something similar for that movie, Talk to Me. The other movie that came out some time ago. They're making a sequel to that as well. You never saw that? Oh, you need to see that. You need to see that. Yeah, you need to see that. That's another movie where they was considering like playing around with the history of where that all came from. So yeah, we'll see if they do that. But with the monkey, hopefully, yeah, we do get some more. Like you said, it should do well at the box office. It's coming out this upcoming Friday, so hopefully it does well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I do think it'll do well. Horror has been really good this year, We had The Companion. Hard Eyes
Yes.
is doing really well with their reviews. And you have this, and it's only February.
Hmm.
So it's not even like it's in the middle of an October thing. It's just the middle of a February. Watch a bunch of horror movies. And to me, I think it's working. And we're getting, and also, if you look at now, I think this is like the horror renaissance because The Substance, which
Yep.
you saw,
That was
one
great.
of the best movies, is a
Yeah.
horror movie, and it's like an Academy Award nominee. So,
Yeah.
horror is being recognized by the Academy Awards. So that's a huge thing. So this would be a perfect time to introduce more monkeys. There's this kind of Renaissance era that's going on where, I love it. So for
Yeah.
me, I just think this movie just overall was just perfect. I went in not knowing nothing. I didn't even know who starred in it. I didn't even see a trailer. It was just like, hey, you have to go see this movie in order to interview. And at the time, it was Osgood Perkins, and I'm like, who the heck is Osgood Perkins? And then now I'm like, oh, that's Osgood. I'm gonna actually watch Longlegs, which is on Hulu. I have a physical copy, by the way. What physical media, everyone? So now it's
Yes.
like, who is Osgood? And I just want to like go back with everything, like, oh, that's your, and I'm like, oh, that's your father.
Yeah.
Oh, and then
That
it's
was
like
very
a huge,
surprising. Very
but you can
surprising.
see it from like the eyes up. You see his
Oh,
dad.
yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, so for me, I love this movie. Were there any kind of final thoughts with the monkey?
Oh no, fantastic movie. I would tell people if they want to see a horror comedy type of film, you definitely should check this out as soon as it drops in theaters. But yeah, fun movie. Can't wait to see what Osgood does next.
Which is the keeper with
The Keeper,
Tatiana
yes.
Maslany, who played the mom in this
And
movie, and
yes.
she did such a good job with that as being the mom. She was like
Hmm.
weird and quirky. You could tell she was also stressed,
Hmm.
but she loved her babies, and she was there for her babies, and you could tell she was like the backbone. But she had her life too. She couldn't stand that the husband walked out, but she was raising those kids, and
Yeah.
everything was going out well until she just had that brain hemorrhage. So it just kind of made me wonder. Here's another thing that I wonder, and in general, yes, you can argue the deaths and everything were real, but what do you feel like this is overall was just a manifestation and not real because of? Do you think that the monkey was real?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I think the monkey is real. I was scared after I left the theater. I said, "Oh, I don't want to ever see that monkey anywhere, in an antique shop or whatever. If I see a monkey, that same monkey anywhere, I'm going to go in the opposite direction." Yeah, because
I
it was
just
a
wonder.
cursed. Yeah, it felt like because it's a cursed entity that it was a sign of evil. So I did feel it could be real. Um, the deaths certainly were definitely real, but yeah, that's just my thought.
I don't. I think it's a manifestation of trauma. And I think what
Mm,
actually the monkey is passed down trauma. And that ends up
mm,
manifesting into this monkey. I think that their legacy is trauma. That they
mm.
just happened. You look at the father, something happened that was traumatic to him. He left. It passed down the trauma to the
To the
boys,
kids, yep.
to the kids. That trauma then passed down into his son. So for me,
Mm,
you can make the argument. Now I know you're like, oh my God, you're getting ridiculous. But to me, and I did had an interview with Osgood. I'm like, is this real?
yes, and I would like to hear what his answer is, but you can't say that yet, right? Because the interview is not. Yeah.
I can't say that yet because the interview is not live. But I will wonder, like, is this real or is this just a manifestation of the trauma that these boys faced and that the whole
Mm,
family faced in general?
good
Because
question.
it's kind of weird to me that you saw what happened to the entire town, right?
Hmm.
And just how messy it was. But like overall, no one else was freaked out. You didn't see anybody else come out in their houses like, oh my God, a plane crashed. There are bodies that landed on the field. on the trees in the dude's house. But yet, no other neighbors are like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So that's just kind of what I'm wondering. I don't know. It could be just one of those weird out there theories. It was like, girl, you think too much. This is why we shouldn't have women review movies. DEI.
No,
So I'm just,
well, I don't know about that.
I'm just
No, no, I don't
wondering.
think that's it.
So I'm just like wondering, just overall, could that be? Because this is a movie. Yes, it's hilarity. There is a lot of good, juicy deaths. But to me, if you would take this seriously, it is about trauma. And
Hmm.
so I just kind of wonder about that. But are there any final thoughts before I go into this really weird tangent about death and legacy?
Oh no, no. Like I said, movie is definitely worth seeing. If you liked Long Legs or you want to see more of Osgood's work, I would highly recommend you check it out for sure.
Yep. I think it's a fantastic movie. Yay for horror in general. Horror is good. You know, we have some good horror, we have some bad horror, but this is an excellent horror. It took me by surprise. I think the hilariousness and the jokes is just, it's not just the jokes, it's the tone and the pacing for how he placed the jokes. That funeral scene, because that pastor has to keep doing that funeral over again, and he's people die. It's sad. I don't know what to say. So yeah, him, that, the whole everything, people how they die is just ridiculous and over the top. And a lot of heads are rolling with this movie. So to me it was wonderful. And I want to see more from this director and what he does. He's also an actor as well. So I would just want more and we're good.
I agree.
So yeah, is there anything that you would like to promote that you are working on?
Oh, well, no. Obviously, the coalition.com. There's a lot of things coming, a lot of reviews, a lot of previews coming from some of the others we have on the team as well this upcoming week. There's plenty of things I wish I could talk about. I can't talk about anything right now. I'm under a lot of embargoes, so I can't say anything. But what I will say is, if you're currently here on the Coalition Entertainment, I would encourage you to subscribe to this channel because there is a lot of things coming to this channel. Dana has been covering all types of stuff, and I'm going to pass the mic over to her, and she can let you know about what else you can find on this channel.
Pass the mic. Yeah, no, we have already, we're doing a lot of the Disney, it's Pixar. We're covering your amazing, I mean, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Too long of a title, but we're doing that. We have been covering, we just did Captain America, the Brave New World. We're going to do the Daredevil. Sorry, I'm just sputtering. Doing Daredevil. We have a lot of other TV shows and movies that will be coming up in the future as well. I'm going to just kind of look over here, so it's just some things, but yeah, we have a lot of that. We still have Harlem. You know, Harlem has finished, so we have like a lot of post mortem kind of interviews of, since we can finally talk about it and spoil everything with that, with the cast, Megan Good and everyone else. We have also the 1923. I'm getting numbers confused. 1923, which is the Yellowstone spinoff. We have an interview with the cast as well, so we get to talk about what's going to happen in season 2 and what happened in season 1. So with those actors, we have the Landman, more post-mortem interviews with that cast that's going around. We have interviews, like I stated, with the monkey, with Osgood, Perkins, and Mr. Theo James, which, by the way, is actually British, and it's like really adorable. So get that going right there. And we just, just stay tuned. Just in general, we talked about Jurassic World. We talked about All American. We have the entire cast for that, and just a lot more other things. And I will not spend like 5 hours explaining everything else. But yeah, if you like and subscribe to the channel, that would be great. You get to see everything else that happens. And of course, we will be back with more reviews. There's a lot of shows that are dropping and movies that are coming out as well. So look forward to that. So I've been Dana, the host. I've been joined by Mr. Richard Bailey Jr., who's also the editor-in-chief over at the Coalition. And we will see you next time. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this.